What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Creative Pineapple in another episode where we are going to be talking about the wonders of directional lines. There's a thing that we're going to talk about a lot in art called the elements of art. There are 7 of them, and these elements are like the ingredients of a cake. So when you make a cake, you have the different pieces that you put together, and if you do it well, then what comes out the other side is a cake that looks great. So for us, when we put them together, it's going to come out as a piece of art that looks good, that makes sense, and that is interesting to look at. Okay, so we are going to start with one of the elements called line. This is arguably one of the most important because it usually is the guiding piece throughout all of your art. It guides the viewer's eyes, it helps us know what to look at in the picture, and it helps draw your actual picture itself. First off, what is a line? You may be thinking to yourself, I already know what a line is. It looks like this. And you would be correct. This is also a line. This is also a line. There are all kinds of things that are lines. That means there are just as many names for lines and types of lines that we're going to need to learn in art. So today we're going to learn a kind of line called a directional line. Now a directional line just means a straight line. So it can be straight up and down, straight sideways, straight diagonal. As long as it is straight, it is a directional line. It is going in a, oh, look at that, direction. See how the word direction is built into there already? Directional lines go in a direction. So you could say this one is going up, this one's going sideways, this one's going over there. When you have a curvy line or the outline of something, you can't really tell what direction that's going. Maybe it's tending towards this way, but even then when you're saying which way it's going, we make a straight line. So straight lines are directional lines. Now a line itself is made up of a whole bunch of points. Points are little dots. They're just a dot in space. Dot, dot, dot. These are all points. Now what happens, do you think, when a point moves? A point is going to move over here and over here and over here and over here. And if we connect that path and start drawing them little by little, it starts looking more and more like just a line. So when a point moves, it makes a line. Look at that. I can even start with a point. Oops, sorry. Take that point and then put my pen down and keep it moving, and it makes a line. So a point is the path of a moving point. This is very important. You're going to need to know, memorize this, the path of a moving point. And you're probably going to hear me say that a lot throughout this video because it is important. A line is the path of a moving point. The path of a moving point. Okay? Easy peasy. We got this. It's a point that moves. The path of a moving point. So, as we're talking about lines, there's several different kinds of directional lines. Now, believe it or not, you already saw all of them in this video. There's 3 kinds of directional lines. There are vertical lines, there are horizontal lines, and there are diagonal lines. 3 different kinds: vertical, horizontal, diagonal. So today we're going to talk about them. Vertical lines are straight up and down, horizontal lines are straight side to side, and diagonal lines are diagonal. Okay? They're crooked. They go from the bottom left to the upper right, or the bottom right to the upper left, or, well, actually, yeah, those are the only 2 ways. But you can rotate them around. You can have them looking like they're barely diagonal. They almost look straight, but they go up a little bit. That one is a horizontal line. That goes over there. So we have vertical, horizontal, and diagonal. Now, the cool thing is that lines can be used to tell stories. So art is all about telling stories, and you hear me say that a lot this year. Art is all about telling stories. So what kind of stories do you think we could tell with lines? What if we wanted to make something that made you feel peaceful or made you feel steady? So let's say we make the ground in the sky. Okay, so we have the ground. Maybe we have the sun peeking up over the horizon here. We're going to make a picture that kind of looks like those pictures we all draw in elementary school. We've got some clouds in the sky. Maybe a little sidewalk coming out of there. And what we notice about this picture is it feels kind of peaceful. It has a peaceful vibe about it. Now, part of the reason that this image, even though it's just a picture of a house and a horizon and even a bad picture of that, is because everything is horizontal. Everything is flat. And in our brains, we interpret that as peaceful. Okay? It's kind of like back in old times when people would hunt or animals would hunt each other. If you're in a place with a whole bunch of trees or a whole bunch of places to hide, there could be enemies hiding anyways, and it's a little bit scary. But if you're in a flat open field and you can see that there's nothing dangerous out there, that's nice and peaceful. And it's kind of the same way with art. If it's not cluttered with a whole bunch of stuff that's taking the space in our brain, it looks peaceful. It's all calm. So let's move on to the next thing. What if I wanted to make a picture of something bold and almost overwhelming, like it's there to take control of something? Maybe it's a superhero or something that we want to make look really strong. So we're going to draw another picture. Again, these are just quick pictures today. And we're going to make some tall buildings out there. And he is there to get some business done, right? He's a big person, and even though it looks kind of silly, you can already tell that this is something that's bold, that he's big. And part of that is because you can see how small the buildings are next to him. But part of it is because he's all one straight line going up through there. It's vertical, it's tall, it reminds us of people, of buildings, sometimes of trees if they're the tall kind. But vertical means tall, bold, courageous. The last one is diagonal. So when we think of a diagonal line, we're thinking of movement. Maybe for a diagonal line, this is a little kid going down the slide. Whee! And they're sliding down there. Or maybe there's a hill and a ball is rolling down there. Or maybe it's a little tire and there's someone running after it being like, oh no, I gotta go catch that ball. So we got movement. Diagonal is all about movement. You see the ocean is moving and we have the waves going in there, and you'll notice that if we draw lines for where they're going, they're all diagonal, right? Diagonal shows movement. In summary today, we learned about the elements of art, or at least one of them is line. Elements of art. We learned that line is the path of a moving point. We learned that directional lines are straight lines. All of these are directional lines, straight lines, okay? We learned that vertical lines are bold and strong. They're there to stay. They represent people and buildings and trees. And we have horizontal lines that represent the horizon. Look how inside of horizontal, there's already the word horizon. It's about, the horizon is that line. If you look outside, it's the line between the sky and the ground, or the sky and the water. Sometimes it's covered by buildings, sometimes it's covered by trees, but horizontal lines are all about the horizon. So if you ever see a horizontal line or are curious if it's horizontal or vertical, be thinking in your brain, is that the same way as the horizon goes? Right to left, straight across the whole picture? If it goes across, then yes, it is horizontal, like the horizon. If it goes up and down, then it's not, it's vertical. And horizontal represents the horizon, it represents the ocean, the ground, peacefulness. And then lastly, we have diagonal. Lastly, we have diagonal. Diagonal lines are crooked lines, and they represent movement. So that could be ramps, hills, slides, waves, and that is about all for today. So good job, guys. Have fun creating with your directional lines, and I will catch you in the next video. Peace.